Pastor here at our church, and I welcome you this morning. I appreciate you being here because we are starting a new series on money. And I even told you it was coming, and you're still here. So I'm out of the loop now, all right? So fair warning. And just want you to know in the next several weeks we will be talking about money. And I want you to know how intimidated I am because to me, there's a lot to be said in the Scripture about money, whether you like to hear that or not. But to me, it's really up there with preaching the gospel. I hope you're here and you know Jesus Christ, your personal Lord and Savior. I think that'd be wonderful. And that's what we do here. We lead people into a growing relationship with Jesus Christ. But in that, we try to give you the whole counsel of God. And there are instructions about money. And we've even preached about it already this morning in Rally. We've prayed about it. And when we start to do things God's way, peace starts happening in a way that you've never experienced it before. But you know what stands in the way of that peace, whether it be the gospel, you don't know Jesus yet, or if it is your finances, is because you got this all figured out. Drives me nuts. Because the Bible is full of some great, incredible wisdom of the ages that will never pass away. But how many times have I tried to lead someone to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, but no, I got it. Pastor, I think, so. Okay, and what can I do about that? Okay, and then when I open up the Bible and I tell you, and it took me a while because I had the money thing all figured out too. I'm just going to, outwork my stupidity. Okay? All right, some of us, all right, we haven't done that. We can't do that. And I thought it would be kind of opportune. For one thing, we had a budget meeting the other day, and I'm going to give you a fair warning. I want to give an application. We're going to talk about finances for the next several weeks. On December 3rd, which is the first Sunday in December, we're going to take a Christmas offering. And I labeled the Christmas offering because Christmas is in December. I prayed hard about that. One of the first things, whatever money comes in, whatever God lays on your heart to be part of that, it's going to balance our budget. Because it seems the pastor has been ministering and is way too gracious. We got to the benevolence line, which is me. And benevolence is me taking care of people or whatnot and bringing people out, talking to them. And there's a spending freeze for the pastor. And I know some of you spiritual giants, you use this phrase, well, you should be a better steward. You should minister more. It's not cheap. And I thought it would be very opportune to talk about what God's idea of finances would be, because you probably don't know this, but the economy is like awful. And you probably don't know it because everybody in power keeps telling me how good it is. I'm a little confused. I'm thinking, maybe I'm not doing the math right, because Sandy sat me down just the other day because you have to sit me down for some news. And she said, you know how we pay this much for electricity? It's going to go up $5 per. What? So for those of you who live with me, there'll be no lights. I have become that old man who goes behind everybody and shuts things off. Because to you, you just hear ching. So I don't know about the economy or inflation. I heard inflation. I know that I'll get to it, but I've paid off my house, which some of you think is ridiculous. I know my Bible. Anyway, I don't know what some of you are doing because you live in debt and you think and you pat yourself on the back on it. I don't get it. I'm not being mean to you. I'm just saying that's what we've been taught. And but you know what? Inflation can go through the roof. I don't have any payments. Now, is food cost more? Yeah. But I used to have a mortgage payment. See how I can slide? Some of you can't slide that because you didn't free it up. And so I want to give you some advice. And again, I think of it in terms of gospel. I wish you'd hear this. I wish you'd apply it. Because again, if you hear nothing else, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I don't want anything from you. I know what you've heard about ministers and pastors, and they're in it for the money. I'm going to get a picture of my car and put it up here. I travel around in a Fiesta, which is Spanish for party. And I use all 4 cylinders whether I need it or not. And you'd be surprised what you can fit in a Fiesta. Oh, I have a hatchback because I couldn't afford the trunk. But then I watch some of you drive around on those big things, and I'm doing the math of how much you pay for gas. I think it's funny. My wife now travels around in a Trailblazer. She fills it up at the same time I fill up my Fiesta with twice as much money out of our gas envelope. I don't know. It should carry me to the car. But again, I don't want anything from you. I want something for you. I think this is a blessing. The information we'll cover in the next few weeks. And I know that some of you got this covered. And again, that's part of my job is I get to hear that, oh, no, I got this covered. And you didn't think this. And you didn't do this math. And I can do math. 1 + 1 = 2. That was God's idea. You didn't make that up. Living on 120% of what you make, you made that up. That's nowhere in God's plan, all right? So wouldn't it be cool? I mean, now again, I'm trying to work on my thinking. Don't you think your government should work on 1 + 1 = 2? Amen. But at your house, it's okay to work on 125%? See, math is a crazy thing like that. Black and white. Don't you love black and white? Anyway. Let me get my eyes out here. And so this series has the potential to impact your life in a very significant way if you let it. It's easy to blow it off because it's so hard. And I get it. Believe it or not, I know some of you have trouble. You ready, Rob? I was young once. Okay? And yes, I made a lot less, and houses were less money back then. So you know what I did? Ready for this? Drum roll, please. I came up with a plan. Have I lost anybody? I can go slower. I determined where I am, did the math, and then thought, I want to be here. How do I get there from here? And how can I do it in a God-honoring way? So, there they are up there. I want you to see how easy this is. I want you to repeat after me. This week is less is more. See it? Less is more. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Next week will be stress is bad. Nice. The week after that, giving is good. Oh, that was even a little louder. Well, you're in for it then. And then the last week, tomorrow matters. Because for some of who just throw up their hands, and I'm just going to live by faith. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. And when we got married, we were going to live on love. Got really hungry. And there's so many stories that we have lived through. And I do know this, that you can't outgive God, and I have proven that, and I will continue to prove that. And if you missed anything else, don't miss that. All right? So at any rate, resist the temptation to blow this off as if, because we have our lingo, we have our excuses, and we'll cover some of those. And I don't want to do something, I don't want to get something from you, I want something for you. But here we go. Less is more, stress is bad, giving is good, tomorrow matters, all right? And so I don't want to sneak up on you because I do want to say this, and people have explained to me what they think they're going to do and where they're going to be at certain time, and that's awesome. But would you do me a favor as a pastor? If I'm your pastor, and honest to goodness, I am your pastor, and you know what that means, and I know what that means, would you, in your plan and all your logic, leave room for God to say, no, we're not doing that? Because that makes him Lord. Well, he'll go with it. It makes sense. No, it makes sense for you. He might have wanted you to be a missionary, and you can't because well, dun, dun, dun. Today we'll be talking about less is more. So if you like me, if you're anything like me, we've been programmed that more is more. Makes sense, doesn't it? And so Adam and Eve, Satan told them, God takes a lot of heat for this. In the Garden of Eden, he told 2 people that he created and loved, he said, don't eat of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay? But somehow we miss the grace of God. He was actually saying, but you can have everything else. So which one do we want? The one we can't have. It's like child psychology. Snap out of it, Adam and Eve. And that's easy for us to say, but we still believe that lie that more is more. Well, you can't have this one, but you can have. I want you to know, I'm pretty confident everybody in this room, I'm pretty sure, can afford a Fiesta. And I know a guy in the woods who can give you one cheap. Nick, say amen. Nick has a Fiesta too, because we're family. All right, anyway. It's funny when I said the other day, hey, I have a light on my dash. He goes, oh, that comes on all the time. And it came on the way here, so I'm hoping I have air in my tires on the way out. More is always better, we've been taught. What you don't have is what you need. So if one is good, two is better. So if I have $1, $2 is better. Am I losing anybody? If I have one car, two would be better. I tell you what, I've been indoctrinated in what I'm about to teach you. I love driving my Fiesta so I can drive and park next to you guys so I can hit your doors with mine. Because I want you to know if you go outside and there's a ding on your doors because someone with a Fiesta went getting out of their car, just want you to know. Because you can hit my car, and I don't care. I don't care. I've had people like bump me in traffic. We get out, and I look and go, you good? I'm good. Yeah, but that's hanging. It's okay. Little super glue, and we're good. 2 cars are better. 1 kid is good, so 4 is better. More money, more clothes, more toys, more stuff. We just had Halloween. I need this. We just had Halloween. Do you guys give out candy? I know some of you don't believe in Halloween. That's cool. I love you. I love sugar too. Sandy brought us a big bag to give out, and I looked in it, and it was Skittles. Anybody like Skittles? All right, cool. You're not getting this one, but you might get this one. It came in different flavors. Oh yeah, we spared no expense. These are tropical wild berry. Arr, arr, arr. I did some research. Steve, my son-in-law Steve, actually helped me with this. I said, Steve, take one of these packages. Tell me how many are in there. I've had 13, 14, 13. Had to do a lot of research. On my head, I have 16, and Steve had 16 earlier, so there's 16. And these little packages are adorable, aren't they? Just a side note, for those of you who know me, I am addicted to Reese's peanut butter cups. That's why Sandy didn't buy them. They will be Reese's in heaven. Skittles, not so much. But Skittles are like little pills of sugar, aren't they? How many of you have at least had one? How many of you have had 2? Because 2 is better than 1, right? And so I have, because of the house in which I live in, for those of you who don't know my wife, she's healthier than myself. And I've learned to live with that. And so I've had to sneak these. Because I've been eating better. Nowhere in any nutritionist is this part of the plan. This is not happening. But is 16 to 13 of these enough? No. So I went to the store, and they come in a bigger package. But now you know what I'm stuck with? I feel the prayer pressure in the room. My bowl's too big. So what I did is, we live in the day of, I bought these too. These are sour Skittles. Who likes sour Skittles? I don't think, here. Just a personal note, this isn't Bible. Food should not be a challenge to eat. So it's like, well, no, it's an acquired taste. Why? Why did you acquire that taste? If it was awful the first time, it'll be awful the second time. Anyway, that's me. And so we have that, but we live in the day and age. I went on Amazon because you can get anything on Amazon. More is better. Right? Now, I've also decided, I have one of these, but I don't think that's going to be for the kids area. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of which, One for those of you who are silly weird. Just, these, I also happen to know, are a great movie candy. How many of you have a movie go-to candy? Okay. I usually do Reese's Pieces and Swedish Fish popcorn. Anyway, and it tells you one part of my problem. You notice we're not talking about gluttony, we're talking about money. All right. Now, these are movie candy, and if I brought this to the movies, and I'm just going to wolf them down, because I hate to say this and admit this to you, but when the previews come on, that's where I eat my stuff. And it's gone by the time the real movie hits. And I almost feel guilty about it, but no, it's in the dark. No one saw. And I'm at the age where I can't go get another soda because I won't finish the movie. Well, you read into that. No, you were right, but you read into it. But if, actually, I just love the feel of it. I'm sorry. It's wonderful. But I want to give you a thought here that if I just woof this whole thing down, because more is better, right? What's going to happen to me? You're going to get sick. I've done the research. It's true. But you know what? You will have the most colorful vomit on the face of the planet. Taste the rainbow. You know? And so maybe too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So I'm going to give you, for the theme of less is more, I'm going to give you just one verse. Actually, there's two more verses, but this is the one I want you to remember. We're going to learn it together. Sometimes less is more. Less is more. One verse to prove that less is more is Ecclesiastes chapter 4 in verse 6. Can I have that and leave it up on the screen for me? This is the NLT version of the scripture. You can find it in other versions of the scripture. Matter of fact, I'm going to fix this one because I don't like the way it's worded. It says this, and yet better to have one handful with quietness than two handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. Can you say that with me on three? 1, 2, 3. And yet, better to have one handful with quietness than two handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. This will help you. Some of you will refuse it once we get to the points, but watch this. For one thing, let me just explain the verse a little bit. Better to have handful with quietness, or it can be translated tranquility. Now, how many of you would love peace? Like calm, quiet. Well, according to this scripture, and I believe the Bible personally, he said to have one handful of something with peace about it is better than to work hard. Now, side note, I'm just trying to get steps. The comparison is two handfuls at hard work. The Bible doesn't say, don't work hard. It actually says work hard. Whatever your hands find to do it with all your might and do it to the glory of Jesus Christ. You should be the best worker wherever you work. Okay? So what that means is it's one hand is better in quietness and peace and tranquility than two hands of labor and toil that you hate. I've given this advice over the years. I just throw it out there for free. If you hate your job, by all means, go find the job of your dreams before you quit your present job. You'd be surprised how many people don't know that one. Well, I hate it here, I'm leaving. Well, you're a child. Stomp your feet somewhere else. Living costs something. Did you know that? Did you know? I know this is in 3 weeks, the whole giving thing. But see the lights? You pay for that. Okay. And for those of you who are you're cold, you need to give more. I'll turn the heat up. All right. So it says with toil, for some we want both hands full, but that's toil. That's the word toil. And of course, chasing the wind. This is Ecclesiastes. This is the word vanity. This is emptiness. For no apparent reason. I'm going to work myself to death for no apparent reason. I have tried to live my life financially in such a way that I'm hoping my kids aren't thinking, wow, Dad looks pale today. I'm hoping so I can leave them something. Now, I hope to leave them something because the Bible's clear about that as well, and that's week number 4. But why is one hand better? One handful is better. Well, for one thing, I have a hand free. I can help somebody else. Look at, whoop. Who does the cleaning in here? It's going to be, I can help someone else. I can give. I think that's cool. I can give to someone other than the bank. I'm very proud of this. My wife, we have a budget meeting, and if you don't have a budget meeting, what are you doing? No wonder your math doesn't work. You're not going to actually do math. But we have a budget meeting. It's not always smooth. I'm usually the one who goes, I want something. I want to buy something. And we are upgrading our house a little bit. We're going to have a generator. So the spices who live in my basement don't get flooded out, really is the thing. And it's a good investment for your house. And, and then 2 other things went down. But fortunately, I have an emergency fund, which is very Bible. Emergency fund is when you have an emergency and you have money. Well, some people don't know that. And but I can help. Sandy at the budget meeting said, hey, you know what? I think we need a heading that just says benevolence or helping others. How many of you like helping others? How many of you are working in such a way that you're putting yourself in a position you can help others? It needs some intentionality to it. I like to encourage other people. That's what I use Facebook for. I wish some of you would follow that example. I post pictures of our church, invite people and talk about Jesus. Me and my wife like getting along. You'll never see a post of mine, Sandy and I were really having at it. This is where she socked me in the eye. It's not going to happen. Because that encourages some of you that you're looking, oh, I wish I had, I have a great relation, I think. She's not here, right? And then I notice this, I get the most likes because that's what I'm after. Because I have 4 beautiful granddaughters. And you guys just love that. And you just look at those and go, you don't even think of me, let's admit it. And that's what I use it for. But with one, I can enjoy those things a lot more. Remember, Sandy and I first got married, and I was going to school to become a pastor, working in the afternoon. I'd get home at 6, and she would leave at 6 and go to her job, and she'd work the evening. And I'll never forget the conversation. We met literally in the doorway, and she said, I married you so I could see you more. So with intentionality, we shifted some things around. Didn't make more money, but I saw her more. You have to make a list of what's important to you and what you're willing to do. You'd be surprised what God will bless, by the way. So, I don't know, did you put this in, Matt? Can I have that list? I saw this guy, a pastor friend of mine. Maybe not, okay. He put on Facebook, he put, define what matters. And then he put 1, 2, and 3. And when he asked this on social media, his replies were, of course, if the pastor posts what matters, Jesus is the answer, okay? So people put God, people put relationships, people put their children, they put their health. Not one person put money in the bank, shoes, iPhone 15, that leather sofa we needed, a Fiesta, new countertops, more Instagram followers. I was watching the news the other day, and there was a break-in somewhere, and I'll save you the town, but it was obviously a town I don't live in because the thief got $700,000 worth of jewelry. How many of you have $700,000? And I'm going to check your tithing record right after this. Can you imagine? You can break into my house. You're gonna bring me stuff because you're gonna get in there and go, oh, the poor guy. We must have something in the car. Someone stole $700,000 worth of jewelry. I'd be afraid to walk around with you ladies if you're wearing 700,000. Someone's going to beat me up for that. That's not, I just don't get it. I don't get it, but that's me. Matter of fact, I wrote here in handwriting, I have 2 pairs of dress shoes. One's black because black goes with everything. And black is cheap because it goes with everything. Sandy said, hey, I bought you a pair of brown shoes. I've never had brown shoes, so now I have 2 pair. Because you can't wear brown with just everything. And then I have 2 pairs of sneakers. You know why I have 2 pairs of sneakers? Because I taught a class in a church, and they took a little offering. They bought me a Nike card, so I had enough to buy 2 pairs of sneakers, which I wore brand new Nike sneakers. I wore them while I was painting. So you've met Sandy. And to this day, I wore them yesterday. They have paint on them. And Sandy yelled at me, are those your new sneakers? Well, yes. Yes, they are. You should see when I mow in them. And they turn green. So I have 2 pairs of sneakers, and I have 1 pair of work boots in case it snows. That's 5 pairs of shoes. So this is Bryan's preference. This is my opinion when I step away from my notes from the Bible. It's my opinion, especially for the gentleman. If you have more than 5 pairs of shoes, by definition, you're a woman. Wow, it's been good to be here. I want to give you 3 thoughts because Jesus said this. About less being more is the principle this morning. In Luke chapter 12 and verse 15, Jesus said this. And he said, beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own. And there used to be a bumper sticker, he who dies with the most toys wins. No, you're just dead. I heard this. I thought it was very deep but very brief. It says, when you die, everything you own goes to someone else. And I want my kids to learn the character of doing it themselves. I didn't say that. I love this quote. I remember it vividly, that when Rockefeller passed away, someone at his funeral leaned over to the guy next to him and said, how much did he leave? And the other guy leaned back and said, all of it. And so I'm going to give you 3 thoughts of how more is less, and I will fly through this, I promise. First one is this, if you're taking notes, cut back. Cut back. Cut back. That means throw something out. When we first got married, again, I made a plan. I wanted a house, but I can't afford a house that's $1 million. I still can't afford a house that's $1 million. All right? And frankly, I don't want a house that's $1 million. The taxes on it. So you start to think differently. If you guys would join me and become debt-free, I promise you, you'd vote different. I'm trying, you know why I'm buying a generator? Because the way I get paid here, part of my salary is housing allowance. Well, I paid off my house. I got to make up for that. So I have to spend money so the government, oh, my head. I just can't figure it out. You'd vote different, I promise. But our first house was an estate sale, which means there was 2 older ladies living in it. One got sick, ended up going into a nursing home. The other one died in the house. And then the gutters backed up, and all the ceilings fell. And I'm a man of vision. I walked in there, and I said, oh, yeah. I was psyched. I kept getting from real estate agents, well, are you handy? Are you handy? Are you handy? No. Finally, I got fed up, and I lied to the next one. I said, well, yes, I am. And it's amazing what you learn to do if you have to do it. And I wouldn't suggest you have me in to do your electrical, because I've done that. There was one time I took the baseboards off because they were lead paint, put a new one on there, went to go plug in my drill for something else. I had put the outlet behind the board, so I had to dig it out. It was just, so you live and learn. There's things about it. But cut back a little. Our first house was 1890, so when I bought it, it was 100 years old. Did you know this? Bob, you know this. A 2x4 in 1890 was actually 2 inches by 4 inches. And when you go to replace that and you replace it with a 2x4, quote unquote, today, it doesn't fit. And all of a sudden, things are crooked. Yeah, you learn fast. You learn fast. And we had a garage literally that leaned to the right. No kidding. I was waiting for the day it was just going to flip off into the neighbor's yard. It was a one-car garage, but you know what? 1890. I'm thinking of trying to find creative ways to straighten this garage. If I straightened it, it's big enough for a Model A. So some of you, you can get your truck in this thing. I drove it wasn't a Fiesta, it was a big car. Never mind. It was a Capri. Anyway, I got it in there, and it's still leaning to the right. And I thought, oh, yeah, we need to fix this. And then I was going to get out and tell Sandy, yeah, we're going to fix this. Couldn't open the door because it was built for a Model A. And to this day, someone bought that house from me, and they took down the garage. We had a walk-up attic. We had an uneven kitchen. It was an addition. Well, a kitchen, whether you needed it or not. Held up by a stick. No kidding, this big. And the stick was crooked in the basement. But the tension on it was tremendous. I shook it a little bit and then ran. Because not only was I waiting for my garage to flip over in the neighbor's, I was expecting my kitchen to fall into the backyard. There was one time we had a kids' party. We have pictures of it. You probably don't remember it, Dev. And everybody into the kitchen to sing happy birthday. Bryan's in the corner. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, everybody out. Because you're going to end up in the backyard too. And then if you dropped anything, if you dropped a Skittle, it would just go boing over into that corner. Because nothing was straight. You may have so many clothes that you don't have any room in your closet, but then when a special occasion comes up, what do you say? I don't have anything to wear. That's an American problem. And then some pay rent, and we've done it here at our church because we needed to for a little bit. We pay for storage units for the stuff we don't have room for. That is a rich person problem, I want you to know. And I know you don't think that, but last time I looked into finances around the world, and it's probably gone up since, but if you make $40,000 a year, you're the top 1% around the globe. You're a wealthy person. You might not be wealthy for Barica, but you're definitely wealthy for Botswana. So, less is more. Life is not measured by how much you own. We know it in our head, but to transfer it to our hearts and actually live there, cut back. Less stuff means maybe I can have more friends. Less stuff means more time with family. Less stuff may mean more experiences and memories. Can I say this, and I'm gonna anyway, so I was just being polite. When you have less stuff and you let go of one hand with all your toil and live in the peace that God intended, you'll have time to do the work of Jesus Christ. Because Satan doesn't want to make you bad. He wants to make you busy. And I'm going to say this is a Bryanism. You can have it. You can make a t-shirt if you want. If you're too busy for the things of Jesus Christ, you're too busy. And something needs to change. Second point is this. Cut back. I'm going to get in so much trouble for this. I want you to know I'm not talking to anybody in the room. How many of you feel like I'm talking to you? I get a lot of that. Cut back. Number 2, clear out. Clear out as if your life depends on it. I know that sounds a little drastic, but your life depends on it. To really be the spouse you want to be, the parent, the follower of Christ who honors God, you have to declutter. If I told you this, and I'm embarrassed to say it, don't check my Fiesta. If you are in your vehicle and you look in the back seat, that's what your mind looks like. I have stuff in my back seat. It's not even mine. I don't even know how it got there. And I'm going to ask you, don't go into my office because that's what my mind looks like inside. I need to clean my office. But to declutter, how many of you have ever decluttered and you feel better? It's one of the first things, if you're in depression, they say, hey, is a lot of chores and stuff getting undone? Go home and do them. You'll feel better. It's not the cure-all, but it will definitely help you feel better. I like to personally, Sandy has this thing, if we go away, I'm looking forward to going away, counting down the moments, and then she's like, all right, let's clean the house. No. I'm going away. But Sandy has this thing. She likes to come home to a clean house. See? Mm-hmm. Do you hear it, guys? I'm assuming you guys don't like to do that either. That's probably a broad stroke. But maybe we need to declutter, freezing up everything you're supposed to be. It's difficult for many. Here's the excuse you hear all the time. Well, I grew up poor, so. I grew up poor too, guys. I wrote a couple of things down. If we had clothes, they were from Goodwill. Anybody remember Goodwill? I remember government cheese. Anybody? Government cheese. And then we called it peanut putty. They'd give you a big thing of peanut butter, and the oil was on the top, and you had to stir it in. And I'm a little kid. I couldn't stir it in, so I didn't have peanut butter. Maybe that's why I have this thing about Reese's. I'm just doing the diagnosis right here on the spot. But we were poor. I remember talk of food stamps. Anybody? Actually, this was funny. Remember that house I just described to you when I came home from work? My wife looked at me and smiled and said, you know what I found out today? We qualify for public housing. Oh, silly me, went and bought a house. I have this ambition thing. I thought, wow, really? I thought for sure I made too much. Decluttering. I wrote this down. I just think this is funny. This is how poor we are. I'm not making this up. We kidded around about it until my parents' dying days. How many of you have heard of Hamburger Helper? Comes in a box, you add hamburger, presto, a meal, right? As God is my witness, we were so poor, there's certain nights we had Helper. There was no meat. Helper, because we had to fill in. Or my mother would make meatloaf, for those of you who know me well. I won't order meatloaf when we go out, because I thought that's what poor people eat. Because I learned this from my mother. If you want a bigger loaf, you put more bread in it. So we had pretty much meatloaf that was all bread. No kidding. So, we were poor, so now I have a lot of stuff. And no, you have a lot of stuff because you think you deserve a lot of stuff. Let go of some stuff. It's okay. And I say that being a man with a very addictive personality. If I start to collect something, I want all of them. Right? So please don't start a collection for me, because I've had that. And it's like, no, and I have to have, if it's baseball cards, I have to have them all. If it's, no, I can't. I can't do it, because and I try to stay away from that. I did collect comic books for a little bit, and then I want all of them. I came across a comic book in a store the other day. It was $3,700. I'd have a really cool comic book, but I'd be single, I promise you, as I stand here. You're not measured by how much you have. We're overwhelmed by choices and stuff. We have Netflix, Hulu, Hallmark, Vudu. It takes me about 20 minutes to decide which app and what show to watch. And then I'm tired and I go to bed. Restaurant menus, Cheesecake Factory. Volume 1. I looked it up. Do you know how many just cheesecakes they have to choose from? How many varieties? 38. Banana's the best, I'm just telling you right now. Yeah, no, it's good. You got to try it. So I suggest, we watched a lady, Sandy loves to organize. She would actually hire herself out. She'd do it for free. If you wanted to throw away stuff and you can't do it, she'll do it for you. She'll throw away your stuff. She throws away my stuff. She doesn't even think about it. When COVID came, we were all shut in. She goes, hey, why don't we clean out the office? My office? Why don't we throw away your stuff? But we were watching this lady who organized for people, and she would show you how to fold things to make room for more stuff. And she said, if you're going to get rid of something you haven't worn in a year, she said, thank it for the memories, and then put it in a pile to give away. Thank my clothes? Sandy the other day said, can you I have this top rack in our closet, and she said, it's hard to actually fit your clothes in there when I wash them. Well, because now I'm at a new stage of life. I have 3 wardrobes. I have one that I wore in high school that I still have that stuff, just in case. I have the one that I wore for years, and now I had to add an X. So I have a whole new thing. So which one do you throw away? I'm not throwing away the high school stuff because I keep hope alive. Right? How many of you guys, you live on the top of your drawer? I have all kinds. I have so many T-shirts that they're falling behind when you tuck them in. They go and get in the way, so you can't shut your drawer. Sandy's, all my T-shirts are Warriors Conference. All of them, every day, without fail, because they're right there. And they're black, and we know that goes with everything. Love my life. Anyway, now you have to go home and declutter. But thank it for it. If you haven't worn in a year, I love this rule. If you get a new one, give one. If you get a new shirt, give up one. If you get new pants, give up one. If you get new underwear, don't do it with underwear. Okay? Life is not measured by how much you own. All right, so we have cut back, we have clear out. Here it is, drum roll. Line number 3, and our final one today is pay off. Stress is bad will be next week. Proverbs 22:7. This is in the Bible. Whether you agree with it or not, or feel it, it is in the Bible. Just as the rich rule the poor, so the borrower is slave to the lender. Anybody here want to be a slave? No. So the master of all lies convinces you that you are a genius shuffling the deck, which you're just a servant. And if you don't think you are, don't pay your next payment, because your master will come and get your stuff. Would you agree with me that financial stress is absolutely no fun at all? No one says debt helps me just feel better. Monthly high interest card payments just calms my soul. Owing other people money brings me such joy. What really happens is stress, worry, and for those of you who are married, let me take these off so I can see you. For those of you who are married, how many of you have had money fights? And how many of you are afraid because they're sitting with you? And you were right? Money fights are the #1 cause of divorce in North America. Did you know that? That's how important money is, and that's why God does address it. So what's fun? I think it's kind of cool. Being debt-free, I think that's good. God actually told the entire nation of Israel, don't you be in debt to anyone. If anybody's going to be in debt, let them be in debt to you. Why? Because you are servant to the lender. Making your last credit card payment. I remember paying our last car payment off. I couldn't push the button because we had $9,000, and it cost $9,000 to pay off this car. And I said, I like to have a pile of $9,000 and a car payment, right? But that makes no mathematical sense. If you were doing math, you wouldn't have that payment. Anyway, and so Sandy goes, she completes me. She goes, oh, I'll do it. $9,000 gone, but I didn't have a payment the next month. And you know what's great when you have a budget meeting, and I suggest you have a budget meeting, is to have that part of the meeting where, hey, there's stuff left at the bottom. What are we doing with that? Well, we could help, or you could bring me out to dinner. Because that was one of the things to go at the beginning, wasn't it? Less is more. Doesn't mean you don't have to have anything. You can have nice stuff, really nice stuff, but a little nice stuff that you own is better than a bunch of stuff that owns you. Better to have one handful with quietness than 2 handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. One person said this, the richest people are not those who have the most, but they are the ones that need the least. Less is more. When I've met people, and again, we've been there, some of my fondest memories as a child, we had nothing. I mean, I'm not looking for sympathy. We had nothing. Actually, at this point in my life, I think I had the advantage over some of you because you grew up with stuff and you don't know how to do it different. I counseled a young couple one time. We talk about money. If you're going to get married, I'm going to talk about money. And I'll never forget, one of them turned to me and said, well, you know my folks. And I said, yeah. He said, they have taught us how little we can live on. Wouldn't that be cool if your kids knew that? Because again, one of the stats I've read and heard is that the average newlywed couple wants to attain the living and lifestyle of their parents, but it took their parents 30 years to get there. And we want it instant because that's the culture we live in. Life is too valuable. Your calling is too great. Your God is too good to waste your life on meaningless things, chasing the wind. Less is more. And yet, better to have one handful of quietness than two handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. Better is one handful and children that you love. Better is one handful and good friends. Better is one handful and vacations and experiences and memories. Better is one handful and a good marriage. Better is one handful and the ability to make a difference. Better is one handful to have passion for the things of Jesus Christ. Do with it what you want to do with it, but that's what the Bible teaches. I just think it's a great idea. And can I say this for a guy who doesn't have a payment in the world? I'm not going back. I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and as he always says, try it. If you don't like being debt-free, you can always go back into debt. I suggest you try it. And so when whoever's sitting in the White House telling you how great the economy is, you can say, my economy is pretty good. Because you're not in charge of it. I refuse to be a slave to someone when I can perfectly work hard enough to provide for myself and my family, and God blesses it because week 3 giving is good. We'll get there in week 3. I love you guys. I don't want anything from you. I want something for you. God bless you.